This is Ashton Marcus, and I'm on location at Theater for the premiere of Nat Turner, Following Faith.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
John Marshall Jones. Right now, I'm on 3 television series. On Bounce TV, I'm one of the stars of In the Cut and also Man and Wife. And on Amazon, I'm on a show called Bosch with Titus Wellington. And all 3 of them are very successful hit shows, and that's just what's kind of happened in Hollywood now. You know, you got to work twice as hard for half as much, but there's 5 times as much work as there used to be.
You're here at
Nat Turner, here at Theater on Pico Boulevard, and it is an amazing show. It's really a must-see.
So what do you think of the show?
Well, I think that that it's really well written, it's very well acted, and for people who love to get a sense of history and don't feel like what's on television or in the movies really provides that, this is a wonderful look into a piece of American history that's very rarely discussed.
So I'm glad to hear that from you, because you weren't in the show and all that, so you're kind of an unbiased third party and all that. I actually thought it was very Shakespearean almost. It was a story about a dark anti-hero, almost like Breaking Bad.
Yes. And in fact, in its own way, it is an American tragedy. And I think that we as a country now are starting to mature to the point where we can watch tragedies again. And this one is very, very, very well put together, very well acted, very well directed, and a really, really worthwhile evening of theater.
Well, there you have it from an unbiased individual. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Okay, thank you so much. And you guys, if you decide to come out, you're going to have a great evening. Promise you.
Thanks again for being on the show.
Okay, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Asante Jones, playing Gabriel Prosser in Nat Turner, Following Faith. Born and raised in Cleveland, Ohio, an LA native since 19 years ago, or an LA transplant, I should say, since 19 years ago, and been a full-time actor for 13 years, and grateful to be so. This is my first 2-act play in over 20 years, but I come from the theater. These are my roots. I've missed it terribly, and I'm grateful to be back on stage. I play Gabriel Prosser. Gabriel was sort of a predecessor to Nat Turner in the sense that he had organized a massive slave revolt that was circumvented by just a couple of his troops getting fearful and spreading the word that it was going down, and unfortunately before they could put the plan into action, that betrayal led to all of them being hunted down and hung and convicted, and that revolt never happened. And so within the confines of this show, Gabriel's spirit narrates Nat's journey as he's going through it.
I look at this play almost as if it's Shakespearean. It spans the lives of more than one man. It's about a dark anti-hero who's actually forced to do these great, bizarre, sometimes tragic things by situations. What do you think of it?
I think the words Paula Neiman wrote, fantastic. Poetry, beautiful poetry. I got to the end of the script and I was in tears. It's fantastically written. This cast that I'm blessed to be part of this ensemble. I'm grateful that this is the project that landed in front of me after a 20-year break. I'm grateful. And I hope that everyone listening will absolutely come out to see it, bring a friend. This is one of those experiences that once the show ends, you don't want to be the one that missed this. You need to see this.
I think you did a great job also. I think you did a wonderful job.
Thank you, sir. I'm not going to toot my own horn, but beep, beep.
Yeah, you were actually the focus, like the storyteller, the narrator. Yeah, but also I do want to underscore this was actually not only was it educational, but it was actually very how should I put it? It stretched you in every way. It's the times you felt horrified, times you felt, you felt elated, times you felt hopeful, times you felt depressed.
Well, our goal is to take you on a journey, and a journey isn't just one thing, and it isn't just one circumstance. It is a response to circumstance, and hopefully we accomplish that. Hopefully we accomplish that. That was the goal we set out to accomplish, and from inside of it feels like we're successful in that, but what do I know? I'm on stage. You tell me.
Well, I loved it. Thank you very much for being on the show.
No worries. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Dan Martin. I'm the director of Nat Turner Following Faith.
What do you think about the play?
Well, I look at it from a whole lot of different perspectives, because in directing it, that's what you have to do. You're basically putting together so many disparate elements to try to make them into a consistent vision. And dealing with a cast of this size, with a play of this length and complexity, and with the budget that we did not have, it's a lot. So, I'm overall very happy, and I'm still looking at bits and pieces that I want to just fix. But at some point, you got to know when to say, okay, enough, and I think I'm getting there, but it's been a treasured trip, and I've enjoyed it.
So why did you decide to do this play anyway?
Well, I was looking for a play to do. I'm the kind of artist, I really enjoy doing different things. I like to act, I like to direct, I like to do photography, I like to do different things. And I was really looking for a play to direct. So a friend of mine who also knows Paula made the introduction, asked me to read her play. I read it, and it was in a genre that I'd never done before. So that challenge attracted me too. The only thing that kind of held me back was the large cast, because I didn't know if I wanted to deal with that level of complexity. But what we did was we took a lot of the characters and bound them into 2 or 3, characters on each actor. So that cut it down, things like that.
So, question, what do you look for in your casting?
I look for actors. I look for people who really are good actors. That's such a large part of doing the piece. That makes all the difference in the world. These are the people that the audience is going to be hanging with for the next 2 hours. So I have to see range. I have to see a closeness in my vision to that character. And I have to see, a personality that I can get along with a little bit, because, we have to work together for a good long time. So those are some of the things I look for in an actor. And I really guess that, the personality I can get along with might even be lower on the totem, because if they got the talent and if I see what I like from them, and we can just be professional.
I looked at this piece. I looked at it almost as if it was Shakespearean. There was this anti-hero, a dark character who wasn't like this hero who was like George Washington, where basically he can never do anything wrong. He's like the founding father. No, this was actually a real honest character with serious flaws in them.
Yeah, he's a product of an interesting situation. And and because of that, he reacts to it, and not always in the best way. He's definitely a product of a bad situation. Yeah.
Okay, well, I really enjoyed the play.
I'm glad. I was interested in how people were going to react to it, and I was unsure if they would see what I saw. And of course, some do, some don't, but I really just enjoyed the challenge of putting this up, and I'm glad people responded.
Yeah, once again, I love anti-heroes. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. My pleasure.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm at KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with.
Paula Neiman. I'm the playwright and one of the producers.
So why did you decide to write this play?
The subject really intrigued me. I had known a little bit about Nat Turner, but through the development, the history, it just started forming this character, and I had to get him out.
You know, when I look at this piece, it seems almost Shakespearean in the sense it deals with a very larger-than-life, dark anti-hero. Not this perfect guy who is like, he can do no wrong, he's like the George Washington of his time. No, he was a real dark, complex character.
Yes, that's what was intriguing about him, because I felt like there's, especially the subject of exploring that first kill, it's not easy, and so I didn't want to just graze over that. So that's what really locked me in.
Why were you intrigued by the story of Nat Turner, opposed to, say, someone like Martin Luther King, or someone like Thurgood Marshall, or someone like Booker T. Washington? Why Nat Turner?
That's difficult because I'm interested in other subjects as well. So other people have explored those subjects. I just happened to. I'd written a play years ago, and through that, me and somebody were discussing Nat Turner, and then I started researching him more. I knew, generally what the history books tell you, and through the researches, I just fell in love with the character and wanted to just explore him as far as I could.
Could you comment on the spirituality of the play? Because it seemed almost like kind of a dark Christian play. I see kind of a modern day reflection of Islam, but I also see a little bit of voodoo mystique behind it too. Hearing voices and spirits.
Well, he was. I mean, that was him. There's some elements where it was interpretation on my part, but that's what he was known for: the spirits, the spirituality. Where that's coming from, my own interpretation is it's more spiritual than religious. Religious, I think, is a tool in how he, the Bible is, all of these things that he was given a platform. But I do believe he was a spiritual person, and religion helped him explore that. But I think the base of him was spiritual.
Yeah, I thought it was very well done. It's very respectful, but also it showed that it's a very important part of his life. It's a very important part of people's lives.
Yes, people are very passionate about this subject, so I needed to make sure that I did it. That I did my homework, because I couldn't just throw up a story about Nat Turner. I had to make sure that it was true to whoever at least I was. Obviously there's an interpretation there. So even him, I am who I am. Like, that's all about my own interpretation. What really happened there, we don't know. But I just had to be true to myself so I could be true to him.
Well, again, I like the play very much. I like the writing very much, at least.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for being on the show.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for having me.
Yeah. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Vanya Scholes. I'm one of the producers on this project, and actually I go by Vanya Renee there in the playbill, you'll see. A little bit about me. This is actually my first production of this size, to be honest. I produced before, but on a smaller scale. I'm also a stand-up comedian and an actor. That's basically what I do, but now I'm trying to venture into some other things. And so, I don't know, this was a project written by Paula. She's hard to resist. She has such a wonderful spirit, and obviously her words are so beautiful. It was kind of hard to resist that script. And so when she brought me on, I was like, yes. So yeah.
So why did you decide to do this project?
Really, to be honest, it was Paula and Dan. Dan Martin I've worked with before as an actress. And I've known him for a long time. And he called me and said, we need someone to produce the show, along with Paul. I'm going to introduce you to the writer. And I said, look, my schedule is too busy. I can't do it. And then they said, well, we'll invite you out to lunch. And I think he knew that I couldn't resist Paula. There's something about her spirit. She's so genuine, she's so real and beautiful. And again, the script was so beautiful. And so, although I had every intention maybe of saying no, when I got there, like, I'm too busy. And then I was there, and I was like, I'm in. I think 10 minutes into the conversation, I thought, I guess I'm producing this play.
Well, I like the play a lot.
Thank you so much.
I mean, basically, I thought it was almost Shakespearean.
Definitely that. It's very poetic. In fact, the actors that we were looking for to play the different parts, we were looking for people with Shakespearean experience that had done Shakespeare because of her language. It's definitely not realistic language, definitely poetic and beautiful, and we needed actors that were able to understand that and grasp and kind of can communicate that to the audience. So, yeah.
Were you involved in the casting?
A little bit. We had a casting director, but then as it neared the end, like we got such great actors. Some of them had to move on to television projects or movie projects, and so we had to get new actors along the way, and so I was part of some of that process as well.
Well, I thought the piece was very well done.
Thank you so much. I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, actually, is there anything we'll be seeing you in the future?
I will be doing some stand-up on November 14th at the Comedy Store if you want to come check me out.
I might drop by then.
There you go. You should do that. Oh, I should get your email. I'll send you the info.
Great. Okay.
I'll put you on my list.
Great. Okay. Yeah. Thank you very much for being on the show.
You're welcome.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Tarnu Massacre. I was born in Brooklyn. I grew up in West Africa, Liberia. I lived there in Liberia since I was 4 years old. And I came back to the States just when the Civil War started. And lived in Brooklyn for quite some time, and then went to Michigan State. And then lived in Arizona for quite some time, and then came to LA, you know.
Great. And which character did you play?
Nat Turner. Nat Turner, wow. There's a Nat Turner in every one of us. Here's a person who, during those times, that was gifted with the ability to read and write. He could see visions beyond that just far. So he just saw things that people couldn't see. So people have different terminology on how they saw Nat Turner as a prophet, a saint, you know. But the most important thing was he just didn't feel like his, black people were subjected to slavery. That we were better than being slaves and being treated as slaves. And he felt that he was ordained by God to carry on his act, you know. And it's interesting because when you I never lived those times, but I can only imagine, as an African American person, seeing your babies being killed, and seeing your families being killed, psychologically what it would do to you, whatever views that people may have of Nat Turner, I think his intentions were pure, were good,
I love the way you played him.
Thank you very much. It's interesting because when I came in as an understudy for Gabriel, and at the time they've already had a Nat Turner, and I only have 14 days to take on this part. And if you look at the script, he has a lot of lines, and he was like, "Man, you it." I said, "No, I auditioned for Gabriel." He said, "Oh, you Nat Turner," So the staff, the cast, they've just been so accommodating. They've just been so supportive. It's been a wonderful ride.
It's almost like you're playing a Shakespearean character, a dark anti-hero with a lot of depth in him, going through a lot of problems.
Exactly. Conflict. He's a conflicted character. Not knowing who his father really was, mother being raped. So supposedly, he has some whiteness in him. So that split, between being an African American person and white, that's a conflict within itself, that he had to carry. So, it's such a heavy piece, and when I first came on board, I could not believe a white person wrote it. So I was like, wow, not just writing the piece, but to capture the language and the tone, and the voice of an African American person. It just blew my mind.
Okay, well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Sajay Moore, and I'm from Philadelphia, Pennsylvania. I've been out here for about 10 years now. I have a background in English with emphasis in creative writing, and I studied at the American Musical Dramatic Academy. I am a dancer as well, trained in modern, ballet, hip-hop, jazz, and African. Yeah, and I've done television, commercial, and play. Here goes one of them, Nat Turner, Following Faith. I played Nancy, Nat Turner's mother. I also played Lucy, one of the warriors in the insurgents in the second act.
Okay. So what do you think about this play?
Oh, I absolutely love this play. There's not too many plays that illustrates Black history in a very honest and a very pure and a very truthful and powerful way. And so I really, really appreciate this story. I had a great time. The writing is so poetic, and it's just great content. You don't hear these kind of stories all the time. So.
Yeah. I actually liked it too because, first of all, I didn't think it was a preachy story. I mean, this is just the way it happened. It was actually very honest.
Absolutely. I agree 100%. And what I love that Paula did is she took historical facts. So that actually helped her writing a lot. It wasn't just fictitious accounts, but a lot of her writing was inspired by factual events that occurred during the rebellion. So I appreciated that she took the time to study to really, clearly articulate our history.
Okay, well, I loved your performance.
Thank you so much. Thank you. I really appreciate that.
Okay, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you for having me.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Frederick Smash from San Diego. A few years ago, I won Best Actor in the Inland Theater Award, and last year I got nominated for the NAACP Awards for Best Leading Man in The Good Negro. I played Hark, yes, in the Nat Turner Following Faith, which he is a fellow slave of Nat, one of his good friends in this struggle. Hark, he comes from a humble background. At that time, he was a big, large man. Usually at that time, the bigger you are, the more you had to be more subservient to the masters. So they oftentimes played more handicapped or played lesser men, because the more they boasted out, the more they would be killed or their loved ones would be killed. So that was his struggle, and he was really looking for something to follow, some type of faith, and Nat became that thing for him. It wasn't so much as far as killing the white men, but at that time with the slave masters, but it was more protecting his family and his friends, and he found that within Nat's revolution that he did.
Actually, in a comparison between this and, say, a Martin Luther King piece, I think this is more Shakespearean. A Martin Luther King piece would be more like a hero, like, he's always doing the good thing, he doesn't do anything bad. But this piece, it was about a dark anti-hero.
Yes. It's got its own lane, definitely, but it's the truth. And sometimes the truth hurts, or most of the time the truth hurts. So I had fun playing this role, and got educated as well. And I hope the audience got a nice education as well, which will lead to some discussion and maybe some change in the future.
Well, again, I like this piece because it's like I don't want to go to a piece where it's just all about some guy doing a good thing, everyone being happy at the end and all that. I'd like there to be some kind of acting in there, like there to be some kind of tension.
Yes. This is a great cast. We got we all play various roles, various people. So it's definitely we had to be on our toes, and hopefully we gave a great experience for the cast, the audience to dwell on. So
I actually liked your acting too, because when I was looking throughout the entire cast, I noticed you were limping in there, and I said, hey, this guy's actually adding something to his character that probably wasn't written in the script.
No, it was not written in the script. The director, Dan Martin, left that up for my interpretation. He just came to me and said, this is what I like to see. This big guy, and at some point, he's got some type of subservient manner about him, and it just came to me with the no foot and the limp hand, and it worked, because there's some truth behind that, because a lot of times they were maimed behind dogs and either halfway noosed or hanged from a tree and ended up escaping, so they had some type of after effect from that. So I grabbed some things from my life, and from what I gather from the audience members, they enjoyed it, and I'm glad, because they said it gave them it gave more to the character, because sometimes the characters are one-dimensional, and I have fun putting this on. Like, it was like a cherry on the top to do that. So,
yeah, once again, I liked your performance a lot.
Thank you, I appreciate that. My name is Frederick Samaj. Play Hark in Nat Turner, Following Faith.
All right, well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir. Bye.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Dominique Washington. Well, I am a Bay Area native, born and raised in Hayward, California. I moved out to LA to become an actress. I studied theater at USC, and I've been here ever since. I played Cherry tonight, Nat Turner's wife. Cherry comes in at a time in her life where things are good between her and Nat, but eventually they are torn apart by the treacheries of slavery, and you find them at the end kind of with that turbulence going on in their relationship, and see how it turns out. Don't want to give it all away.
I loved your character because back then it's hard to get a woman to be a strong character back then, especially a slave. Mm-hmm. But I thought your character was written with a lot of dignity in it.
Yeah, I mean, I think Cherry she's written very strong, and thanks to Paula, she's written as a strong woman. But you also see that vulnerability in her. You see how she's torn apart by the atrocities that are happening, but she still has to remain strong for Nat, remain strong for her children. So, yeah.
So what do you think about the play?
I think about the play, we have come so far, and we have, we've just been working hard at it, and I'm very happy to, have opening night, have in the bag, and many more shows to come. So.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you.
Hi, I'm Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Daryl Phillip. Well, I was born and raised in Texas, and I'm an actor in Hollywood, California. And I love theater, and I do theater, film, television. I played 7 different characters, all the most evil white people.
So which one was your favorite?
I think I enjoyed Mr. Turner, the half-brother of Nat Turner, who actually probably turned his heart toward the darkness by crushing his spirit because he didn't fulfill his father's promises to Nat.
So what do you think about this play?
It was very educational. A lot of it I didn't know, but I was able to understand and empathize with the characters because of the devastation that they'd seen in their own lives.
Do you think we have any modern day lessons from this?
Yes, always. History always repeats itself, and we have to constantly battle how we treat each other, and it's always a constant battle treating each other with respect and love and dignity, and it always will be.
So how do you think about how can you possibly handle such violence, such dark material in such a dignified way, in an educational way?
Well, that's just it. It is education. It's history. It's something that actually happened, and it's something we should know about.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you, sir. I appreciate it.
Right here, sure. Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Jamian Parker. Grew up in Houston, Texas, moved to Hollywood after serving in the Air Force, and actor, director, producer, writer, whatever pays the bills. I played Will. Will is a tortured character because he watched his son murdered, and his wife and his other son were sold to another farmer, and so he was left alone. And when Nat Turner started her revolt, he was kind of drawn to it because it allowed him to kind of act out this vengeance that he had inside himself that he was not able to articulate before. So he kind of was drawn to it because he saw someone who was allowing him the freedom that he wanted for his family before they were torn apart.
Your character is very interesting. I liked it a lot. It was kind of a dark character, but it wasn't like an evil cartoon character.
No, I mean he's dark in the fact I think he's that person in the play that shows us what happens when you push too far. Each character plays their role, and Will kind of illuminates what happens when you push a man past the point of no return and then give him an axe. So it kind of, he's kind of that tortured soul that there's really no redemption for him. Like, he is just, he's like the blunt object. He's just that tool, and he falls in with Nat, and he sees this as a righteous endeavor and a way to avenge his family. So,
yeah, well, I liked your performance a lot.
Thank you, I appreciate that.
Okay. Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
No problem. Thank you for coming.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Jennifer Lieberman. I have a one-woman show called Year of the Slut that won the Audience Choice Award at the Frigid Festival in New York. I also have a book called Aural Sex, AURAL, Naughty Notes for Lovers on Amazon.com. I am also currently a series regular on the Hulu sitcom The Neighbors, created by Tommy Wiseau. Tonight, in Nat Turner Following Faith, I played Nancy Parsons, Mary Von Barrow, and a few of the ensemble characters.
Actually, I liked your performance. You were kind of the Southern belle throughout the entire play.
Yeah, one of the characters I played was a more kind of naive Southern belle character. She was a lot of fun to get into.
So what do you think about this play?
I think it's a real powerful story. I think it's an important piece that I'm happy that I know about it now. I'm Canadian, so I didn't know the history of Nat Turner. We had a very different situation in Canada. We didn't have slavery, so I'm not as well versed in American history being a Canadian, but I think this is a really powerful piece and still relevant. I actually was reading several books to do research, and also it has to do with the aristocracy that settled in the South. So a lot of them came from royal families or royal descent. So they thought they were better than most people, not necessarily just the slaves.
I also liked about this play that it was very honest. It wasn't just Nat Turner's just like George Washington. He's just good at everything. He's just this perfect person. No, it was very, very honest with his flaws.
Definitely, and I think that both sides have a valid argument. Both sides have weight to it. During that time, it was completely normal for slaves to be treated the way they were treated in that society. The fact that we're far removed from it, it seems totally volatile, and kind of disgusting that people would treat human beings that way. But back in that time, it was just the norm. So I think Paula Neiman, the writer, did a really great job kind of illustrating the picture of this is normal life, which helped me, kind of portray these characters that to me are really disgusting people. But to them, there's this naivete about it, about this is just how the world works.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you. Have a nice night.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Darius Dudley. I've been here since 95. I've been an equity member for at least that long. I love it here in Hollywood. I was Hubbard. He's a turncoat, a snitch. And turning the coat is fun. I'm telling you. There's nothing like villainy to enjoy.
So, what do you think about this play?
I think it sheds a light on things that we haven't thought about in too long, and it's starting to press home some of the events that are happening in our own time right now.
There isn't a whole lot of publicity about the violence in the Civil War before the Civil War, but it was a very polarized nation back then. So how did you possibly capture the darkness of this with still giving it respect and still giving it the truth?
Truth and darkness demand their own brand of respect, and everybody does not follow or heed the call that those negative feelings and situations provoke. But it has to be played out. You can't hide it because it happened.
Do you feel Nat Turner was actually a victim of his circumstances, just playing the hand he was dealt with?
Oh, he was definitely playing the hand he was dealt. I mean, we're all victims even today, but our job is to do the best we can with what we have.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
My pleasure. Thank you, sir.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Hunter Smith. I'm born in Texas, raised out there in Corpus Christi, went to Austin for school, UT. Came out here about 5 years ago, been doing theater and film as much as humanly possible. Fight choreographer, stunt performer, and actor. I played a soldier character. I played John Clark, the young friend of Nat Turner, and I played the overseer.
Great, and which one was your favorite?
I really love the disparity in the juxtaposition of John Clark, the young, sweet, ignorantly aware in this world of harshness and violence, and then the overseer being the example of that. Jumping back and forth between them two was a real challenge as well as fun task.
So what did you think about this play?
This play is a beautiful, poetic exploration of the truth and the times and what can really incite a person of any type to rebel and stand up for what they know in their heart to be true. The human spirit being undefeatable, and I think this is a beautiful way to really get the message out and examine it from all angles without really judging, but just exploring.
I thought it was almost Shakespearean in its nature. An anti-hero, basically being pressed by situations, forced to do things that are outside the envelope.
Definitely, Nat Turner, being from his well-cultured upbringing, the knowledge and everything that came to him, he was an outsider immediately. So this kind of journey towards serving what was right, despite all the odds and despite the horrible atrocities he had to do, like they say, sometimes you have to get your hands dirty to enact change. Like the only time that the revolution is going to come is when things are at their absolute worst, and things do have to be destroyed so that they can be made differently.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Thank you very much.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine, and I'm here with
Sarah Davenport. I'm an actor. I've been doing mostly stage for the last few years in Los Angeles, including the Scottish play and Bats in the Belfry most recently this year. I play Mrs. Whitehead and Lavina Francis and Margaret.
So what do you think about this play?
I think it's a very important play. It touches on a bit of our history that sometimes we tend not to enjoy thinking about, and I think it's incredibly important to revisit some of the ways in which we have not always been kind to each other in order to ensure that we don't repeat those mistakes.
Well, seeing as you have a Shakespearean background, I thought this play was very Shakespearean. An anti-hero who did dramatic things.
Yes.
And again, it showed the flaws in him, but also it showed a lot of depth.
It does, and on top of that, even one of the great things about this play is that some of the characters that you might not necessarily think of as being heroes or the good people of the play, you get to see different aspects of their point of views. So as terrible as some of these slave owners are, you also get to feel with them as they watch their whole families get slaughtered. But you also understand why they've been slaughtered. So you get a lot of different aspects from a lot of different areas.
Well, thank you very much for being on the show.
Oh, thank you.
Hi, my name is Ashton Marcus. I'm with KUCI 88.9 FM in Irvine. I'm here with
Glenn Bunn. I played Jack in The Following Faith. I'm from North Carolina. Decided to start acting maybe 2 or 3 years ago. Took some classes at a school in Virginia, ODU. Had a friend that moved out to California maybe 3 months before I did and said, hey, it's happening out here, come on. So I just took the leap and just moved out here. I played Jack, a soldier in Nat's army. He's in the army. He's a younger guy. He has a problem with the murder of children. With him being the youngest member of the army, he's been there. He's interacted with kids before, and so just killing kids of like any race, it just bothers him. So he's working through that.
So what do you think about this play?
I love the play. It's been a lot of work. The cast is great. They've all put in the hours, and it has great potential. I love it. I'm glad I'm just a part of it.
Yeah, I liked the performance. I thought it was very dark. I liked that.
I loved it. I mean, just the fact that the messages from the heavens and from the ghosts and spirits that came to visit him, they're like open for interpretation. So you can, maybe he took the wrong path, maybe he didn't understand them correctly, but just the fact that he made his choices, and they're questionable, but they're extreme, and I love that about it. I love that about it. Not so much a good guy, but a relatable guy. I love it.
Yeah. Again, good or bad, it's not like we're here for a moral lesson.
Exactly.
Basically, it's a lot of really good acting in a very, very complex, layered script.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. Not so much a good guy, just a guy reacting to the situation that he was forced upon him. And so it was realism. It was more, not so much a hero, just a guy reacting to what his life has been.
Well, again, I like the performance a lot.
I loved it. I'm glad you guys came out, and I appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, thank you very much for being on the show.
Not a problem at all.
Nat Turner, Following Faith, will be playing at Theater from October 30th to December 6th. For more information, go to roguemachinetheater.com or freetheatertickets.tumblr.com.